My name's Chris.
And I'm Kristie.
This is the Washing Up Podcast, and it's Biscuit Week.
Oh, and wasn't it just erectile fun for everyone?
It wasn't Biscuit Week, it was Dennis Week. Look, if I was going on an Australian television show and I knew that I was probably going home, that is how I want to leave.
Like, bravo, Dennis.
Dennis provided...
Mic drop.
Dennis provided a near masterclass tonight.
Awesomeness.
In Australian television comedy. Look, Channel 10 do their pilot week every year.
Where's Dennis?
It's absolute crap.
I
I want a red button option on every TV show from here until the end of time, Dennis says.
I mean, I know last pilot season, not the one just gone, but last year I was all, there's so many white men. You know what? I'll give a pass to Dennis.
Yes. Won't we all give a pass to Dennis? And also, the guy can bake. I mean, if you've seen on his Instagram, for example, there were a bunch of ribbons and certificates from, I think it was Melbourne Show.
Yeah.
He's an absolute demon in the kitchen. And what we found as well is he's a demon for a one-liner. Boy, it's been good.
It's the delivery, though.
Look, Elliot Goblet
could do deadpan.
Was deadpan, but he had nothing on the humour and stylings of Dennis. Dennis has done this slowly over the course of the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And tonight, we got the masterclass, and what I really loved at the end was the last line that he delivered was the line that he finally cracked himself up on.
What I really hope is he got into baking simply to make connections with Mel Buttle to get a mentor for the comedy scene.
Comedy double act.
Oh my God, Mel and Dennis. It's like Mel and Kim, but with less brimless hats.
Buttle and Muse.
Hatless brims. Hatless brims.
So this was a really good episode, and we're singing already. This was a really good episode. It exemplified a lot about why we love Bakeoff. Most of it being baking related, but we will come to it, obviously. The situation that happened with Laura, I think that's also a bit of an example of one of the reasons why we like Bakeoff too.
Absolutely.
But we'll get into that in a bit more depth later on, because we've got to start off with a pre- and post-credits joke that was a double whammy for the ages. So we open with the epic.
Keep going.
The epic that was the Game of Thrones introduction. Now, what this you have to remember, of course, is that this show was filmed two prime ministers ago. Look, I'm going to say it. 18 months ago.
It's been a whole year and a half.
18 months since this was filmed. We can confirm that. And Game of Thrones was on air.
It was still...
And hadn't had its controversial last season, which I liked.
Won't spoil.
Well, I liked. Anyway.
And I liked, too.
Yeah.
I really did.
But, so this was filmed at a time when Game of Thrones was everything.
Absolutely. And you could see it coming through. And it would have been so on point.
Yes.
If it was released 6 months ago.
It would have been absolutely amazing time. They would have gone, oh, wow, they're topical.
12 months ago, even bigger.
It would have been topical.
Yeah.
So now it's a reflection into a day gone by. But what wasn't a day gone by was so that was obviously Claire's big moment, and what an acting performance, by the way.
Look, I think she's putting it out there because, there's a few fantasy shows that are apparently going to come into the works in Australia. And I think she's just putting herself out there.
Everyone has a streaming network.
Yeah.
Everyone not only has a streaming network, but would really like to put a bunch of Australian content on there because you get grants. So,
what kind of fantasy show do you think Claire should be in? Would it be more an elvish, fantastical creatures
Time
kind
travel.
of thing? Time travel.
Time travel.
Doctor Who vein, or are we talking a kind of time police kind of thing?
I think we're going
oldie Victorian.
No, I think we're going time travel, and I think we're going Quantum Leap. I would like to see her as the lead in a remake of Quantum Leap.
Can we have Mel
as Sam? Yes, 100%.
Oh my God.
It's absolutely, again, the only line I remember from Quantum Leap is a line where they go back in time and he looks at him and he says, "Why are you carrying a purse?" And Sam's like, "Get out of here, purse. It's a man bag. The chicks dig it." And I could hear Mel just delivering that
perfectly.
So we've got to possibly get into the episode, but before we do, that was Claire's big moment.
Yeah.
Mel, on the other hand, just smashed it out of the park with the mother of all jokes. I just love the way that she just grabbed that tray of biscuits, ran up. What are you doing? I'm practicing my dunking. Smash.
Like,
Simple.
Here comes the shack attack.
Watch out for the shack attack. I told you to watch out. It was beautiful. It was perfect. It was wonderful. Now, we learned a little bit tonight, and the first thing that we learned was that Wynn is a big tea drinker.
Yes, we did.
What was one of the
Tea
things...
connoisseur. As Matt is to sandcastles, so Wynn is to tea.
Well, we found out a bit more. We got a bit more of an insight into Matt Moran tonight too, as well, a bit later on, especially when we get to Angela's food truck. But we needed to start with the first challenge, so we start with the signature, and the signature tonight was 24 identical chocolate biscuits. Their comment was that they needed to include chocolate as a main component somewhere in the bake.
What chocolate biscuit would you have had them make?
What chocolate biscuit would I have had them make? I don't really know, to be honest with you.
Something with matcha? A little bit salty, as I suggested on the Facebook page.
Yeah, you ruined the Facebook by doing that. By the way, Kristie is currently eating a chocolate nipple.
I am.
Chocolate Royale for those wondering at home and
chocolate
wondering.
nipple.
Anyway, we'll move on. So Dennis commented that his wife is still happy that he hasn't rushed home. That seems to be an ongoing theme. There seems to be a bit of... I like the way you just went, I don't know what she's planning. I don't know what she's up to. But she's quite happy that I haven't rushed home yet.
He goes home and he finds she's pebble-created the whole house.
Inside and out.
Inside and out. He goes to bed.
Pebble-crete mattress. So I do have a question, though, about Matt Moran from tonight. So they do all that, and then they cut to Matt to do the explanation of the first bake. And when they cut to Matt to explain the first bake, I want an explanation as to why he's wearing a vest over a collarless polo.
Because he's Matt Moran.
It looked like what had happened was he turned up with a proper shirt on.
And he spilt
tea on it. Like, Wynn's a big tea drinker, maybe. Wynn spilt tea on it.
A little bit of accidental argy-bargy.
A little bit of accidental argy-bargy, and the next thing you know, there's tea all over the shirt. Matt's got to go out the back and find, whatever he can get hold of, which is one of his, lad about town collarless shirts. But he's still got a vest.
Dan grabs an Insta photo of it all and he's like, about to spill the tea. Oh no, Wynn's already done it.
Nice. So Dennis then cut back because every second, just like in Canadian the other night where every second shot was Liam, every second shot tonight was Dennis, and I was here for it. Because they cut back to Dennis, who just looks at the camera and Maggie goes, we're looking for some interesting flavours. We want some inspiring flavours. Dennis looks deadpan at the camera, holds up a sprig and goes, lavender. That's it. Then they cut away instantly again. And it's like Dennis was having the time of his life.
And all the Get This fans out there.
Lavender.
Yes.
But it felt to me tonight a lot of like Dennis had just sort of decided whenever there's a camera anywhere near me, I'm on it.
Yep.
Don't care.
Doing this. It's like time to up my game. This could be my audition for the Melbourne Comedy Festival. Adelaide Fringe at the very least.
Oh, he would be a bandit on Fringe, wouldn't he?
Oh, just a little
baking.
Little sideshow.
The sideshow would just be baking. He could be baking and making jokes as he does it. Holding up pen and going, cupcake. And that's it. That's all he does. Then back to the
audience goes crazy.
So Sonny was making miso dark chocolate chunk cookies. Now, what I found fascinating about this was that the third flavour, so yuzu, matcha, miso was always the third one whenever we did MasterChef. Now, I never get to miso because
of Bakeoff.
It's baking. And who's using miso in baking? Sonny is the answer to that question, it turns out. And I wasn't aware that was going to happen. So I went yuzu tonight on the game card and didn't pay off for me, unfortunately. But, I think a lot of people were actually quite okay tonight. I don't think we got a lot of people drunk. We'll go through the game card again shortly.
Yeah.
Dennis.
Yes.
Because, of course.
Mm-hmm. We know it had lavender in it.
Yeah, but what Dennis then asked was a very important question. I want you to muse over this question.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Philosophy Corner. Here pondering, and I've heard beautiful minds just pouring out over the Bakeoff shed. Dennis, posing the question, was an orange named an orange because of the colour? Or was the colour called orange because of the fruit?
The answer, of course, I think you'll find,
Yes.
is it was all named after the city.
Orange, yes. Because as we all know, it went of the ancient world, Rome, Byzantine and orange. It was way before the Dubbo Zoo came into effect. And
I was trying to hold that in, but you mentioned the Dubbo Zoo. What? You can't expect me to not laugh when you're talking about the Dubbo Zoo coming into effect. Like, that was a bit too much. I can't...
have you ever been to the Dubbo Zoo?
I have been to the Dubbo Zoo, actually.
When did you go? How old were you?
I can't remember how old I was.
Well, apparently, and this is my mum telling me, we went when I was a kid. I don't remember. And it's good that I don't remember because it was a really fucking hot day and all the animals were in the shade far off into the fields. Because, like, it's an open plain...
See, what I used to love was when it was called Western Plains, before it was called
yes,
Dubbo.
that's right, it was Western Plains.
The slogan used to be, nature is next to you at the Western Plains Zoo. And I'm so pleased to hear that nature is off in the middle distance at the Western Plains Zoo.
First of all, you have to drive 3.5 hours, to get there.
To go. It's a long way to go to see an animal.
They really use the word next quite liberally,
Next exit. It goes back to the Ross Noble
down the road.
It goes back to the Ross Noble argument about when Ross Noble was talking about driving across the Nullarbor, and he goes got on the bike because he was riding his trike across the Nullarbor, and he had the sat nav on. And the sat nav thing came through, and he said, continue straight for 3 days, then turn left. And he's like, I hope they're going to remind me. I don't think I'm going to take the left. So Dan made Choco s'mores.
Oh, I was impressed by that.
Tell you what, I'm going to agree with Matt Moran.
What?
Matt Moran said that he was really impressed by the idea of the malt.
Yes.
And I liked I was here for the malt.
And because your favourite ice cream growing up was
the Vienna chocolate covered in malt.
Yes.
So you've got so they were Choco s'mores, dark chocolate and malt biscuit crumb. Mm-hmm. Angela went with choc chunk cookies with white chocolate ganache, which looked really good. And then Matt started advising her about being careful that her balls didn't touch.
Look, he's probably, got good reason to give that advice. They just merged together, I guess, in the heat.
It's a serious issue when it's warm.
Yeah.
Make sure they don't touch.
Is it a PSA that he was giving, really?
It was. At the end of it, there should have been the rainbow with "the more you know" going across the back. So then we've got Don. Now, I loved a lot about Don tonight. I loved, first of all, the chocolate Subway biscuit, which, as Matt came to say later on, they shouldn't have been called that. They should have been called a fudgy brownie sort of biscuit instead, because they were soggy, not crunchy. Yes. But the texture was amazing. But far more importantly,
the talk of where he stayed in the Bastille.
Yes, the talk of where he stayed in the Bastille, which then just became Claire checking the apron, searching for his Bastille.
Claire, I know it must be lonely days away from your family in the shed, but
it's been good tonight though, because
I also think you're barking up a very, very wrong tree right there.
But Don's aprons tonight were on point, and the shirt game was great. So we got a combination of all the great things. We got France and combis.
It's like, I see Don, I see France, I see Claire trying to get in his pants. Like,
you've been hanging on to that one for a while.
It just popped in my head. Channeling the muses.
So Sue. So Sue made her white chocolate, and I can't remember how to pronounce it. It wasn't Graber. It was something like, I can't remember how it was actually pronounced. So apologies, Gruber. Let's go with that. Gruber, yeah, Gruber. Hans Gruber. White chocolate Hans Grubers. Apologies, Sue. You can correct me later on. But yeah, so they were more traditional Lebanese shortbread, I believe. And yeah, like white chocolate made a lot of appearances. Now I know that this does divide the audience.
It does.
We've heard this before, not only on Bakeoff but MasterChef, that white chocolate is a very divisive thing.
Not a fan of white chocolate.
Whereas I don't mind
it. So Sue's bickies are all yours, baby.
Yeah, fine, beautiful. I'll have those grown.
You can eat all her Grubers.
You know the other good bit of news here? You know the other good bit of news here, though?
What?
That means I also get wins to myself. And I am perfectly happy with that.
I would make an exception for half a win.
Here's the thing tonight.
Right.
Wynn had possibly one of the best bounce back weeks we've ever seen.
He
Nearly went home last week, as he put it. I feel like the cat that's made it across the highway.
Yes, you have.
He made white chocolate shortbread with cherry jam, and I really liked the way that he did the imprint too, to make sure that the cherry jam sat just neatly inside the biscuit.
You know who else is a cat that's going to have to be glad she's made it across the highway? Our cat Somni. Now, I just want to take a moment on this podcast. We don't talk about our cats enough, really. Polly was there watching Bakeoff tonight, as you might have seen on Twitter. But Somni, we've bought this beautiful maidenhair fern plant, right? I wanted it for our new bathroom. I'm just like, I want a bit of greenery, and I'm shit at keeping things alive. Guess what I've kept alive for the past good month, haven't I?
You have.
This maidenhair fern plant. I've been dousing, misting it in warm water as it's been telling me to do. And I was so proud. And I've called her Fern Cotton after the English presenter because it's a fern. And I just like to talk to her. And I figure if she's a television presenter, I can practice then for when I become famous in my next life. But Somni has decided that fern is tasty. And she's been eating her plant sister. And I'm just devastated because now we've had to banish Fern to a separate room where I will not see and care for her as I've been doing because our cat has to eat her and we can't have her going into kidney failure. So this is me publicly shaming you, Somni. Just bad pussy.
The problem is that Somni is probably going to attack me in my sleep. So let's move on. So Wynn also, however, got away with something that not many people can get away with. It's my week.
Oh, Wynn.
And not only did he survive,
God,
he thrived.
You know what? These editors trolled us tonight, and I'm here for it. I like a bit of that. I like the editor having a bit of insight going, I know what the audience will think, that he's cursed himself. Throw that in.
He's going to win. All right, so what I did there?
It's a win-win situation.
It's a win-win. Well, there's an episode title.
Yep.
Okay, so David made peanut buttercream melting moments with chili. Brave. You
After
saw
last week.
what happened last week. And the way that he looked at Maggie and he mentioned it, he goes, look, it'll be a first bite, not really there. But after the second bite, you'll get a little bit of just a tingle at the back of your throat. And Maggie looked at him and goes, I'll just have the one bite then. And all I could hear in the back of my head was Annette just calling from beyond the Bakeoff shed
David.
going, don't do it.
Stop, walk away from the chili. You'll be out here with me.
I apologise, Annette.
It's like we've got Annette on the podcast.
We did, and go and listen to that, by the way, people. Really good episode, really fun.
Coos.
Really fun chat with Annette the other day. So please go and listen to that episode. Anston. So he was really clever,
and I was picking up what he was putting down, as was Matt.
He was really clever. So choc chip peanut with Matt's raspberry jelly from the Raffa cakes. And it was great. Like at the end where he tasted it and Matt really liked it. And Mel just goes, there you go, Anston. Matt likes his own jam. What are the odds? It's clever.
Yeah.
I like it when they do that, when they pick it up. They said to Matt, are you happy that he's doing this? Are you not happy? He goes, no, it'll be great. The flavour combination sounds really good. Look, the thing is that he can give you the recipe for that jelly, but if it doesn't go with the rest of the flavours, it doesn't matter how well you make it. And
I was really happy that Anston was ready for that jelly.
He was. Anston had a really good week as well. There were a couple of people who had big weeks. Wynn had a really big week. Anston had a really good week as well.
He could handle the jelly.
And Laura, by the way, was having a really good week too.
She was, and we're going to get to it.
We'll get to it.
Shelve that.
So Laura.
And not in the two-fingered up your date way.
Anyway.
Going back to Canadian.
Yeah, it is. So Laura, dark chocolate melting moments with raspberry buttercream and white chocolate pistachios. And God, they look pretty.
And I'm okay with white chocolate pistachios because the pistachios trump the white chocolate.
But just the way that she made it, the buttercream, that look of that buttercream, the pattern, the pistachios crumbled over, it's
It looks
they look to
pretty
die
as
for.
a picture.
I like a good melting.
Beautiful.
I like a good melting moment. A good melting moment. A bad melting moment is not good at all.
Less of a moment, more of a travesty.
Again, the best melting moment that I've ever had. You know, and like, Mum likes to buy them from Woolies.
Ugh.
They're not good.
Ew.
And again, I have been spoiled. The best melting moment I ever had was Olivia's, from, of course, former great winner of the Great Australian Bakeoff, who forced a melting moment at me, yelling, "Have this! It's really good. Come on, have you eaten it yet? Have you eaten it yet?" I'm like, give me a minute, Olivia. But the best melting moment I've ever eaten.
Absolutely.
It did. Literally, it melted in the mouth. And it was just so... And I'm not big on the ultra-sweet sort of things. And melting moments tend to be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I could quite easily have demolished the entire container of melting moments that she made.
They were very good.
And if you go and check out... If you go and check out Delicious magazine from a couple of years ago, the recipe is in Delicious. So you can make them at home. And
We'll just go Insta-stalk Olivia. Let's drag her up from the from the shadows.
Let's go and get all of her Instagram stuff. So
Yeah.
Ange's cookies stuck. So Matt's PSA didn't get through.
Oh, my heart dropped when that happened.
And so we ended up with what was referred to as the mushy mess.
Oh, it was...
And what I really loved after that too, though, was Ange doubled down.
She just dug into that good old US gumption.
She's like, fucking, I'm icing all of it too, and just poured the icing over the top of it.
Now I know why the US is going to shit, because Ange is here in Australia.
Exactly. No American gumption.
No.
So at this point, just before I got to the judging, Mel turned around to Dennis and was like, "So what will your presentation look like?" And Dennis's response was just, "A complete and utter shambles." I have never seen anyone having a better time in the Bake-Off shed than Dennis. He was having a ball. Like, Dennis was just having the best time.
He's that person you see where disaster is happening around them and they're just like, fuck it, I'm popping the champagne, kicking back and enjoying the ride.
He's like, you know, he's standing around, everything's falling in around him, he's looking around going, view's pretty spectacular, isn't it?
Yeah, he's like that, you know the Fiona Apple's cover of Everything, Nothing's Gonna Change My World?
Yeah.
That one. And she's there in the cafe in slow-mo around her, everyone's like...
Across the universe, yeah.
Across the universe, yeah. Just everything's crashing and smashing and
or
stuff.
Leslie Nielsen in The Naked Gun, where he's standing there going, "Nothing to see here," as everything blows up behind him. All right, so the judging. So Anson, so they said that they weren't all identical, unfortunately, because he missed the piping on one. And he looked down and he goes, "To be honest with you, I didn't notice it. I just missed it." Matt absolutely loved it, and Maggie said there were really good layers of texture.
They looked amazing.
Now, even though that Matt said that Don's wasn't a sublet, they said, because it wasn't crisp,
Yeah.
they both loved the flavour of it. Maggie said the chocolate was really good. And even Matt said, the only thing I don't like is what you've called it, because it's not that. But the flavour's really good.
Yeah.
So they loved his biscuits.
I just want to say, I'm really sorry, Don, I forgot your theme for before we were talking about trying to get into your Bastille. Oh, Don's apron.
And I ask you, is it very good? Yes, it is. All right, Angela. So they said that, unfortunately for Angela, the icing was the real issue. Now, I disagree with the icing being the real issue. I think the icing was covering up the real issue, which was they were all stuck together in one big mess. Then they pointed out they couldn't pick it up because it was stuck.
Sorry, Angela.
And basically they just said it hasn't worked. And look, we've all had that moment where it's just something where you're like, yeah, I didn't get there. But
I know, like, people at home are just watching, just shaking their heads going, oh,
the good news...
There's no comeback from that.
The good news for Angela is that when we get to the final challenge, her icing gets significantly better. Yes. That's just everything, to be honest with you. All right, Dennis. Now, they said a lot of chocolate, and they weren't lying. Like, Dennis was, like, had the cake spatula and was just layering chocolate and, like, going up. He was, again, fucks given, none. Matt then got a chunk of lavender. And that's what he said. He's like, so I bit into that, and I got a massive chunk of lavender, and I don't really like it.
Well,
but Maggie wanted less chocolate, so she was fine with the lavender. She said the lavender balanced beautifully.
I love their kind of like backwards and forwards just about the things I don't like. So Maggie likes the heavy lavender, Matt not so much. You know, Matt's into the heavier kind of
Chocolates and stuff. Maggie, nah. It was weird.
But awesome.
Dan, they said that they were a bit too soft and gooey. The malt, however, was amazingly good.
Gooey on the inside.
Dan, I'd just like to say, I'm fine with the fact that they were the softer and gooier with the malt. And if you want to
But there's supposed to be a s'more,
If you want to drop like a tray or two around here, I will have no problems testing those and giving you good feedback. Sunny, they said there was really good flavour and a really good concept, but they said that it was a little bit cake-like, and that was a bit of a difference there. David, I love whenever Matt talks to David, he gets really blokey.
G'day,
Last
David.
week he got really blokey. This week he started off by going, that's a bloody good biscuit.
You know what's going to happen next week? He walks in singing Hey True Blue to David.
And hands him a cutlet of Moran lamb. Yes. Maggie was fine with the chili. David was like, and Matt, they're like, are you fine? And she goes, actually, I'm fine with this. It's subtle. She goes, I know something's there, but I'm not sure what it is. And David made sure to go, it is chili. Like, so he made sure to repeat that.
Yeah.
Sue, they said the pistachio flavour was good, a crisp flavour of the chocolate that balanced through, which was really nice. Laura, they said it was absolutely pretty. It melted beautifully, and Matt said that the texture of the melting moment was one of the best textures of a melting moment that Matt has ever had.
Well, there you go. High praise indeed.
That is absolutely high praise indeed. And then Wynn. The cherry jam, the chocolate, and the pistachio flavour was absolutely lovely, and they said that he'd clearly bounced back.
So what I'm appreciating now is that I'm a bit of a slow learner, but I've kind of realised that I'm a biscuit person. I've been thinking about my sweets and stuff, and like, I'm not a cake bandit. I do like certain cakes, but tonight I would have been like Cookie Monster, just at the benches going, cookies. And
I love your Cookie Monster impression too. It's good.
Well, it's not as good as yours, Mr. I dressed up as the Cookie Monster to go to school, and then followed up by dressing up as Elmo, like in the full fur outfit. Oh no, the Cookie Monster was for your mum's party, wasn't it?
Now what start with the letter C? Cookies start with C. What about other things that start with C? Oh, who care about other things?
So
Anyway.
At first I was disappointed because your mum's party was supposed to be a 70s party, and I'm like, sweet, I'm going as Mama Cats. Fuck yeah, fat fierceness. And then your mum's like, no, we're changing it now to go as something beginning with the first letter of your thing. And I'm like, I was a bit disappointed at first. But you were happy because you was going Cookie Monster.
Yeah.
I'm like, what starts with K? And I'm like, Khaleesi start with K? D is for dragons. I'll put them on my shoulder.
She spent the whole night with a dragon on her shoulder running around going, where are my dragons?
Yes.
It was spectacular.
And
So
Dracarys. Yes.
the technical. Oh boy, the technical. The chocolate and ginger arlettes. Wow. So you had to have 24 of them. This becomes a bit of a sticking point, which I found this really funny. The ability of people to count out arlettes was fantastically weird.
Now, what I love is that these delicate, beautifully crafted French biscuits, right? But in my head, I'm just going, their name is kind of like what you expect someone from a trailer in South of America might be called. Hey, Arlette, can you come help me with my possum problem?
As we found out later on, it was a Mr. Arlette.
Oh, sorry.
We'll come back to that, though. So I need to start with Maggie Beer because Maggie set this, and Maggie was having an acid trip. I wonder if the back of the verjuice fields, I wonder if there's, like, other things there.
Well, I told you the myth.
Well, that's how the verjuice
came about.
It was a vision quest, and they were smoking some illicit substances.
Yeah.
But Maggie got...
She has this cave,
Maggie sounded a little bit like a cryptic crossword
in Wakanda, where like instead of like glowing purple flowers, they're like glowing verjuice.
So Maggie got she got a little bit cryptic crossword on us tonight. So think thin, think snappy, oval not round. I like defined swirls. And then she was led away by Matt. And I just wonder if there was a trip going on. Maybe it was the lavender from the bake before, and she just had so much of Dennis's lavender in the biscuit.
Was that
she
really chili, David?
the between the lavender oil and the chili, Maggie is just way out there. I just and
maybe she has some rare condition where chili causes a hallucinogenic.
Well, I actually think it came about because of that. And the reason is I think Maggie was having a come down when her and Matt were out the back talking about the Arlette.
Yeah.
Because it was some evil Maggie shit. So
the look on her face was
when they turn around and they're talking about it and they're showing it and they're doing the snap and it's an amazing snap. And then Matt turns around and he goes, "That's a wonderful bake, and it's all this stuff, and it's got all these different things, and it's really good. You didn't tell them how long to bake it for, did you?" And Maggie looks at him and goes, "I had to leave something out," and then sort of almost cackles.
Okay, I've got it. Because Maggie is held up on such a high pedestal. I mean, she's just been named, what was it, Person of the Year by Good Food and Wine.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a perpetual award. She gets it every year.
Yeah. Like she is the pinnacle of what is awesome about Australia. Everyone loves her.
How
right?
good is Maggie Beer?
Right. That to get some catharsis and to get some relief from that, she has an opposite place to Beer Manor, which is the den, the beer den. And she goes into evil villain mode, just for a weekend, just to let off some steam. And I presume she got, waylaid, doing
in the lair,
and it just perpetuated.
So the den has a lair.
It does.
I like the idea that the den has a lair. So what these are, by the way, is they're thin and crunchy puff pastry biscuits. Sue pointed out that she's never heard of any of this. So Dennis, because again, when
Maggie Beer.
When in doubt, cut to Dennis. And they cut to Dennis just in time for Dennis to say, "We need to measure 50 centimetres, so we have a ruler that is 45 centimetres.
But what Maggie
I
does
can count."
Is that she doesn't go and cause chaos in normal places, right? She just goes in as if her normal Maggie self is a separate person, and she just goes and causes chaos. She's like, "I'm going to poison your verjuice fields," and just cause a bit of diddle-loo-loo-loo. Bit of Batman.
Bit of Batman. Yeah. So there was no time for the cooking.
No.
And there was no time for the resting. So Maggie gave them no times for anything. And as she said, that's the most important element of this bake is all the timings. She gave them none of them.
Time. Maggie didn't give it to them.
I was about to actually do the time, see what's become of me, because my answer was going to be, well, David had a blue Band-Aid. How the hell did you end up with a Band-Aid on this one, David? You haven't even cut anything yet.
No, I don't think maybe it was on the
Dennis had one too?
The cling wrap cutter. Just cling wrap incidents ahoy.
Finger stuck in the proofing drawer.
It was a Cobram. Victims of Cobram.
So for those people who didn't listen to our MasterChef podcasts, Cobram, when we're talking about the victims of Cobram, and again, people who listen all the time are going, "Yeah, we know, move on," but just skip. So in MasterChef 2 seasons ago, Brandon Pang in MasterChef was running with a bottle of Cobram in his hand, and fell, and the bottle of Cobram kind of sliced large chunks out of it, and went through his hand. And since then, we've talked about the idea that there's a support group for victims of Cobram Estate olive oils, and obviously Cobram is around the shed this year a lot, so maybe, just maybe, the bottles are starting to attack. Who knows? Possibly.
Oh, look. David's done himself a mischief.
David's done himself a mischief. Wynn was really clever in this challenge.
Yes, he'd listened to Maggie's instructions.
Yeah, about the oval in particular. So he put the ruler in there and he said, "I'm not rolling first. I'm doing the first roll as a fold. Then I'm rolling, and that will give me the oval shape that I need." It was really clever.
He was rolling to make an oval.
So we got the greatest gif of the season so far in the next moment, which is where Claire looked at Anson and went, is that what it's supposed to look like? And we got this wonderful sort of high-kicking shrug.
It's the gifable moment of the season for me so far.
So it's for the Verges committee out there. Gifable moment at the moment is that
Is Anston, yes.
Right.
Beautifully done.
So Ange then talked about the fact that in the recipe it says you've got to press them down with a fry pan. She's like, I have no idea what that looks like. Then we got the count. Ange had 22, Laura and Sunny both had 21. Sue had 15. And they're all trying to bake extras as fast as they could. Dennis's just looked really sad. And Dennis was like, I'm not sure if they're supposed to have been in the oven for longer or what. And the answer, Dennis, was yes.
Yes.
They didn't look like they were cooked. Although, as Dennis points out in the judging, I promise you they went into the oven.
Whether the oven was on, whether he left them in there, or even closed the door.
Yeah, exactly. They went in briefly. So the extra ones that everyone baked were raw. Like, everyone who baked extras at the end there, they just threw raw ones on. And like I said, Angela had 22. She threw the last two on there, and they were clearly raw. She looked at them and went, oh, all right. So, and Sunny was really upset with herself at the end of this challenge too, which shows, I think, the pressure that Sunny's put on herself. Then Maggie came back out and asked everybody, has anyone ever had one of these? And nobody said yes. And then she admitted that it was indeed a difficult bake. Now, I'm going to count that as the bake is deceptively difficult, because I think it was. No. So, to quickly go through the drinking game before we get to the judging here. Mm-hmm. The drinking game tonight, the baker says their kids love this one. Well, no one had ever heard of it, so no. Risk it for the biscuit. They avoided risk it. They got so close. Anson got really close. You had it. It was right there. You didn't do it.
Ugh.
Extremely tough decision. No, they didn't say that at all.
No.
Mel and Claire distract a contestant while under the pump. Mel did indeed come over and distract, I think it was Sue.
Who was like, do not walk.
Baker sits staring into the oven. A couple of them did that. Mm-hmm. Good mouthfeel. This is the first week we didn't get good mouthfeel. And we got no booze in the bake. And we got no yuzu.
Well, you would have been happy with that last one.
The technical is deceptively difficult, however.
No, the booze.
Oh, the booze, yeah.
Oh, sorry, the yuzu. You would have been happy. No yuzu. Woo!
I was happy there was no yuzu, but I wasn't happy there was no booze. So the judging. Sunny, they said there weren't 24 there. They were caramelised well, but they were a bit thick, but the flavour was really good. Dan's, they said, were a beauty in terms of the thinness. They really liked the thinness there. Sue's were raw. Dennis was even worse. And that was it. They went, Sue, raw. Dennis, and they actually said, even worse, these are inedible.
He's a slow motion avalanche on a gentle slope.
He is.
Just, you can see the disaster happening, but it's just done so gracefully.
There's no panic.
No.
Like, it's going to happen.
Yep.
Just watch it. Just watch it come towards you.
And it's not that it was terrible. It was just this slowly coming to a halt.
They then celebrated Laura's because they were cooked. They said the shape, however, wasn't consistent. The flavour was good and crisp, which is always a start. David, he only had 23. There was no snap, unfortunately. Maggie picked it up. And it was one of those ones, again, where Maggie picked it up quite smugly and went, let's look for the snap, knowing full well it was just going to bend. She knew long before she did that.
It's villain Maggie. We know
this. I know. But they said there was good flavour. Anson's, they said, a great snap, and it was thin, and it was really good. Poor Don. Don had a mixture of raw and well caramelised. They said there were some that were really well caramelised, and there were some that were a bit raw. Angela got 24 up, but as they said, the last two don't really count because they're not cooked. Wynn's, okay, so poor Wynn, great shape, thin. They said most of them were great.
Yeah.
A couple of them needed some caramelisation.
And it's the whole when they were like teasing it forward, it's like these could have been perfect. They could have been the best.
That was what they
biscuits.
said. Well, they didn't even say they could have been. When they did the judging, and I'll quickly run through, Dennis was 10, Sue was 9, Angela 8, David 7, Sunny 6, Laura 5th, Don 4th, Dan 3rd, Wynn 2nd, with Matt Moran going, these are the best biscuits. but there's some caramelisation needed on a few of them, and that's why you didn't win.
Ugh.
And Anson won.
And then you could just see Anson going, well, this feels like a hollow victory.
Yeah, I felt bad for him because they're like, you're first, but his are better.
Yeah.
Like, hang on.
How does this work?
And, of course, at this moment, what we needed was Dennis. Thankfully, we got some Dennis, as he said, I'm going to Arlette to find the man who invented them, and I'm going to shove a custard pie in his face. I'd like to think that happened.
This is after the discussion with Mel about, where Arlette's named
I'd
after
like
a
to
town.
think that Dennis went back, looked up Arlette, looked up a Mr. Arlette, and then just randomly knocked on the door with a custard pie in hand.
He called his wife. Hello, love, this is Dennis. I won't be home. I'm going to France. What do you mean, Dennis? You're supposed to be coming home after Bakeoff. No, love, there's something I've got to do. It's now my raison d'etre.
It's personal.
She's like, all right, if you must. Gives me a bit more time with Pebble Creek. What else can I do?
I've got a ceiling that's not Pebble Creek yet.
And the trees and bushes out the front.
Why am I
they're
going
still
along
green.
with this horrible accent? You've lured me in. I'm sorry, Dennis.
Because I'm the queen of accents, as we know.
I'm sorry, Dennis. Anyway.
I'm not.
All right.
No regrets.
We have to get a little bit more serious in a minute. So Matt and Maggie, first of all, took some biscuits home, which gives you an idea of how good it was. Matt goes, so the first time in a long time I took biscuits home, and Maggie's like, for the first time ever, I took biscuits home too. So the showstopper was biscuit boxes, 4 hours, and you needed to have at least 12 biscuits as part of your build.
I love this challenge, and I love it every time it comes up.
It's happened a few times, and
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of it. So,
but it's not the challenge, which what makes it interesting. It's everyone's take on it and what they come up with.
So this challenge we had a bit of a difference. So in the previous challenges, we cut to Dennis every second moment. In this challenge, they were laying the groundwork for what was going to happen, and we cut back to Laura. So let's talk about what happened to Laura. So I'll talk about Laura first, and then we'll go through the challenge.
Yeah.
So, because I think we need to talk about that. So they started off by cutting to Laura saying, last night I wasn't feeling too good. I woke up this morning, I wasn't feeling great. I got to the shed and I'm feeling worse. Then they cut back to her again and she goes, I'm getting really dizzy and nauseous now, but I've got to finish this bake.
Yeah.
Then they cut back to her again and she looked even more unwell than she'd looked previously.
She had the complexion of me at 20 in the height of my
She had the
goth
complexion
phase.
of me, period. Then she admitted again that she was really dizzy, the room was spinning, and she said, every time I turn my head to the mixer, there's a bit of a problem there. Then they cut back. And when they got back, there was a medic standing there. But what I really appreciate, she was still baking.
She's like, oh, it's okay, just check me out. She's a real trooper, that Laura.
And the medic is like working and moving the finger around and checking, and he goes, yeah, it's time to get you out of here.
And if no one else heard it, there was this resounding sigh throughout Australia as two particular people on Twitter suddenly kicked into thirst mode.
Yes, Josh.
Brandon.
Yes, Josh and Brandon. Who were very much thirsting over that medic.
Oh, and Josh, I'm so sorry. I forgot to credit you last week when I was talking about things being crunchy and stuff because I didn't know what that meant. And now I do.
Well done.
So,
anyway.
And that was you. I read it for you on Twitter and I meant to credit you.
So anyway.
It was Josh being funny.
Anyway.
Okay, Laura.
So, Maggie and Matt came over and Maggie gave her a big hug and Matt and Maggie just both said, look, this is a bit of gingerbread, we don't really care. Yeah. We're far more worried about your health and your well-being and you need to go home and you need to rest up and we need to take care of you. And again, this, for me, goes back to what Bakeoff is. And it was like everyone was just going, we needed, like Anson helped carry her out and helped her out and they all went over and gave her some support. It was, and you can see like Ange was upset that Laura had to sort of go out. And it was that caring moment that like they weren't worried about in that moment. No one was worried about the competition. They were worried about Laura and worried about her well-being.
Yeah, and I feel that the call to send someone home tonight, despite Laura not being there, was valid.
It's the right call.
Yeah. yes, there is precedent in Great British. Someone was sick and they basically just went, no, we're not sending anyone home tonight. But what annoyed me about that was that it then makes that whole episode, that whole effort that those people went to for nothing.
Yeah.
Because,
Now, the other thing, and what I liked about this compared to some other shows, a number of other shows actually would do this, when they didn't send her home,
they didn't penalise her.
When they didn't send her home, though, they, at the end, when they were talking about what happened with Laura, Matt Moran said she was not in the running to go home.
No, and we
Her
all saw
baking
that.
had been really good up to this point.
Yep.
She wasn't in the bottom group. She wasn't really a chance of going home. So we don't think that it's fair to send her home because she's sick. It's more important that she gets well again.
Yep.
And therefore we're not going to send her home from the competition. And I think that's perfectly fine.
Absolutely.
I have no issue with that call whatsoever.
And, people might disagree, and that's fair enough because we all have, different things that we value. But you and I are in agreement that that was the right call, and
I think they handle it quite well.
Yeah.
So let's go back to something a bit lighter now. So when they started the challenge, Maggie turned around and said, "I'm hoping we'll have different shapes of boxes." That was, of course, followed by Dennis, who said, and I quote him directly here, "What is a box?
Back to philosophy mode.
Define box."
Well, I believe school was quite direct when they said a box is a cube,
Well, the history of boxes is a long and interesting one. No, we just make boxes.
Thank you.
Can we see a finished, completed box? No, we don't do that here. They do that in another factory. We just make the boxes. I don't know what you think we do here.
It's a Simpsons quote for everything.
It really is a Simpsons quote for everything.
So there's a lot of box talk, and that I love a good,
which was good.
big talking about boxes.
Which was great because we opened with Anson making a Christmas cookie house.
Yes,
God,
Santa.
now he had Santa going down the chimney. Now it could have
We'd
been
seen the promos. We
It
knew
could have
what
been-
was going to happen to that poor old Santa.
It could have been Santa going down the chimney. It could have been instead Santa crashing through a roof. Either or.
I really hope Matt asked Santa if he didn't want any more children.
Was there consent?
Yes.
Was there consent before he cut Santa's nuts off?
Did after he go muzzle tough?
It's just a shame that there wasn't like a peanut brittle in the middle of Santa. Like, so he then could have cut his nuts. It would have been just perfect.
Really the first Christmas bris.
Yeah.
I love it.
So the house was made from gingerbread and there was royal icing, gold leaf and sugar sand. And inside were peanut butter cookies. It looked really good. We said we learned a lot about people tonight. We learned about Wynn.
What did we learn?
Pyromaniac.
Burn them all.
Burn them all. So Wynn was talking about when I was growing up, I used to go around the farm and I'd set fire to things and I'd burn things. And the more and more he described it, the more worried I got for the shed. He's flashing back.
A lot of flammable things in that, construction.
Wynn's flashing back. He's like, I'm walking around the farm and I'm burning everything. He's looking around a shed. Ooh, sheds, gardens, burn.
He was a big fan of Disco Inferno.
He really was. Angela made the taco truck. So let's talk about the taco truck.
Towering Inferno.
So let's talk about the taco truck. The taco truck was incredible. Angela's piping on that taco truck was something else.
And I loved it because she's like,
mini
I'm from
tacos.
California and there's a taco truck on the, every street corner. You get the best Mexican food. Oh,
Now, once again,
awesome.
Matt Moran did find something to pick with this.
who's gonna
The price of the tacos.
Haven't you watched the at least go to Netflix? Matt, you must surely know taco trucks.
Excuse me.
Sell dollar taco.
He runs Aria. The price point is his big thing.
Yes, but not everyone's putting beluga caviar and gold foil on their fucking tacos to charge $60 for them.
Not with that attitude. I love the fact that so the tacos were chocolate flavoured biscuits with cayenne pepper, which I like the fact that she kept Mexican flavours in there too, so it wasn't just like looking like it. The cayenne pepper was in there to give it a bit of spice. And she had really good structural organisation too. Like,
Yes.
I'm labelling the tabs, and like Mel's like, "Can you come and organise my life?"
And she's like, no, my husband's a cabinet maker.
My
I'm like,
husband did that.
That's cool.
So Sunny made a crocodile skin suitcase with a rolling pin to make sure it had the biscuit texture on it.
That is cool. Like with the crocodile skin
That was
texture.
really, really nice. I loved things like with the flags. Like the flags were like cracked a little bit too to give it that extra texture, like the worn stickers.
Yeah.
It was such the detail.
Thoughtful.
The detail that Sunny went to on that was incredible. So it was spiced biscuits with the royal icing flags, and lemon, myrtle, and macadamia. Now Maggie was terrified.
That the lemon myrtle will be overpowering.
Which is fair enough, because one of the things we've seen in Australian Bake-Off is the lemon myrtle kills everything.
However, what I love what Sunny's done is like similar to Anson's, choice to put Matt's jelly on top. She's gone, okay.
What does Maggie like?
She likes Australian flavours. Let's do that. And she did it. Not only did she do it, she did it beautifully. So well done, Sunny.
I also liked at this point Claire just ran past and gave Dennis a quick peck on the cheek and kept running. It was so cute.
Claire is all of us.
All right. I'm going to say something controversial, and I loved Wynn's, by the way. I thought Wynn's was amazing. But something controversial.
What?
Dan's Pirate Treasure Chest was the best showstopper.
Oh my God, Dan. Oh my God. I loved Dan's chest.
Actually,
As many people have done on Instagram, I'm sure.
I'm going to count Booze in a Bake.
Yeah?
Because it wasn't technically booze in a bake, but it was rum-flavoured paint. So I'm going to count the paint.
Booze, yes.
The paint counts, booze in a bake. Well done. Thanks, Dan. Got people drunk.
That looked fantastic.
But like the
It
quality...
shivered my timbers.
The quality, the locks. And it was different textures. What I loved was it wasn't like a chest that looked like a chest, but it was all the same texture.
Yeah.
There was the cracking of the wood, the rigid level of the metal, it was just the detail.
Dan reminds me of Stephen from Great British Bake Off. Remember?
Yes.
His ability, like his handbag was just fucking exquisite.
His precision. He is so precise. And the little stars with the faces and his shocked face with the stars.
I'm now thinking in the Commonwealth team, Dan and Monica as the aesthetics team. Like, that would just be boom.
Dan is, again, you can pick the Instagram nature of everything, but you can also see the research scientist in him. Because you can see that analytical, what flavours, how am I going to build this, how am I going to construct this. You could see all aspects of it.
Double threat.
Dan had a really good night.
And he's Italian, triple threat.
He had a really good night. David.
Oh, sorry, trio threat.
So David made a checkerboard. So we had a checkerboard off. So David's checkerboard was gingerbread with chocolate and vanilla macarons as the pieces, and then Dennis made. He didn't call his a checkerboard. He called his a draft set. So
who knows how to play drafts? Really?
Well, I do. It's easy.
How?
Drafts is pretty straightforward.
How? You need to teach me, because that game, like it to me, it was just.
But I was a junior chess champion, so I can play all those games.
La-di-da. I was a junior chess champion.
I was.
Yeah, well, I came like... What did I come? I came second in Vidiot.
You did.
Like, duh.
Question about Vidiot, though. Mm-hmm. Who's Tom Carroll?
He's a surfer.
Well done. What sport doesn't Tom Carroll play?
Golf.
Thank you. Moving on. Dennis also made a draft set, as we said. He also noted the last lot of structures that he made was like concrete. Not really what you want to say. I mean, obviously for the build quality, yes.
Yeah.
But for the eating,
Not so much.
probably not. So it was
Dentists are happy. Marcus would be on that.
be on
like,
that.
Eat your concrete.
But my
Come see
question
me."
is,
Yes.
it was a gingerbread box filled with two kinds of biscuits, almond and lemon and cranberry and vanilla. How do you get concrete gingerbread? That's an effort.
That really, to me, seems like you've mistaken, say, plaster of Paris with ginger.
Quite probably.
You've gone to the craft box rather than your cooking spice box.
Sue also made her Arabic biscuit basket with cinnamon, aniseed and orange juice.
That looked delightful.
The 4 kinds of biscuits that she made too. So mamoul, 2 types of kak and an orange biscotti.
Yep.
And boy, didn't the judges go nuts for the
I think
biscotti.
a couple of that biscotti probably went home with Maggie and Match, you know?
Oh, probably. I think so. Now, I felt bad for Don because, like, that chest looked incredible.
Oh, then the crack.
And then the lid happened, and he went, I can't, okay, the lid's not going to work.
But he thought on his feet.
I, by the way, had no problem with the fact that there wasn't a lid on that box. I know that the judges did. I had no issue with that.
Yeah.
It looked...
I just spot by everyone else's
It
lids.
looked incredible, and I love that the jewels were butter biscuits with the boiled lolly centre. It just looked really cool. I also like Anson then giving us some sort of tips on construction. He was freezing the joins.
Yeah.
So he had like the can of air and he was freezing the joins so that they held firmly.
Because
Sue went with caramel.
Yes, but we saw, was it Bakeoff the Professionals?
Yeah.
And they had the freezer stuff for their
That was
chocolate.
really
That
good.
was cool, yeah.
Oh, that was the only thing I liked in Bakeoff the Professionals was all the freezing stuff.
Oh, that was all good stuff.
So,
Liam, he was good in it.
Don's on-the-spot decorations to make up for the lid.
I'll just whip up a few flowers,
I'll just
will I?
fold these flowers just quickly. I'm like, yeah, because that's what we all do, Don. They're incredible. Wynn's piping.
Robert, though, is sitting there at the end of the podcast. Goes, yeah, that is what we do.
Yeah, that's what we do. We just
whip up some flowers.
Always. Wynn's piping.
Or throw bacon at it.
True. Wynn's piping. So pretty. And I mean, it even covered up the fact that with the first time he made the box, he had that massive gap between the box and the lid. And like, but the piping was so good. And
it didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
And it just slid so perfectly.
And again, we got. I asked Kristie before we started recording. My question to Kristie about this challenge was: did they work backwards from giving Mel Buttle the line? All right, everybody, hands off that box. Because it feels like they did.
See, I love talking about hands and boxes and stuff. It takes me back to my goth days when we go out in our little goth gaggle of groups.
A gaggle of goths?
A gaggle of goths, I believe it's what it's called. Or a...
Depression of goths.
Depression of goths, really. We were too happy to be really a depression of goths. Anyway, our group... The cool thing to do was to have your little box. So if you remember the little makeup box that got a little clip on the front, little handle, they're hard. Yeah, we used to have, each of us have a box. And like someone had a fur-lined box, they'd be like, oh, I like your furry box. And then someone had a see-through box, it's like, I can see what's in your box.
So you literally just had them all for the innuendos.
That was just a bonus, really.
Beautiful. All right. Also, before we get to the judging, Maggie offered us her technical recipe on lifestyle.
She did.
No.
It's not there?
No, I'm not making it.
Oh.
I'm not going to make those stupid little fucking see-through pastry things. Are you kidding me?
But...
I watched everybody make soggy ones. I'm not doing that.
What?
No, I'm not making them. Maggie B.
Then you need to find where we can get some.
Maggie B can come over and make them for you personally.
Maybe we'll go stalk Wynn.
Maggie B can come over and make them for you personally.
Oh, I hope it's not villain Maggie. She'll just be like running around with her cape, just going. Whoa!
Now there was obviously.
You wanted Arlettes, and I've made you melting moments. That's wrong biscuit.
That showed them. So there was one thing that probably could have helped all of these bakers in this last challenge. If you're looking for a quality magazine focused on cake decorating and sugar art,
yes,
you need Australian Sugarcraft. It is the magazine for you.
Absolutely you do. And it's not just bakers who love it. It's not just good people in this world who love it. You know, maybe the sidekicks of supervillains love it too.
I can't see why they wouldn't.
Why, yes. Hello, my name is George, and I help the dear, evil, and wonderfully vicious evil Maggie Beer in her den of depravity. Oh, yes, I lurk in the lair, and when Maggie's not there, I like to spend my time reading Australian Sugarcraft magazine. You get 2 full-page colour digital magazines with step-by-step tutorials, recipes, tips, and ideas for the low, low cost of just $19.90 annually, and you receive 2 issues per year. All you need to do is get onto your supervillain database and bring up facebook.com// Facebook.com/Australian Sugarcraft. That's right, Facebook.com/Australian Sugarcraft. And you too can be building destructive forces that will tear down the world, as well as making them look pretty. I must go. I think I hear Maggie.
That took a turn. You can also make flowers. Really, they work.
Yeah, I don't think it's all about the destructive.
That's terrifying. I mean, good
death rays. And
I mean, don't get me wrong. If you can make sugar that's destructive, I mean, I'm all for that.
Destructive sugarcraft. World-ending, planet-consuming sugarcraft.
It's important. It's important. Look,
I think it's only been a feature every now and again.
Yeah, it's only occasional. So. The judging. Dan, they said it looks so real. The biscuits were amazing. Matt was absolutely gushing until he destroyed the box. I'm sorry, I've got to do this, and ripped the back wall off. And everyone in the shed went, oh. No! It was so disappointing.
Yeah.
Sunny, Maggie absolutely loved the flavours, especially the lemon myrtle.
Yeah.
Angela, they absolutely loved the fun of it. They loved the colour of it.
I loved Matt serving the tacos out of the truck. They had to go through the window.
Yeah, the serving the tacos out of the truck was great. Matt, of course, didn't like the pricing point. That was all he struggled with. They said they were really good. I absolutely loved that, by the way, Angela. And I would take that taco truck any day of the week.
Yes.
Okay, Kristie.
Yes.
Poor Kristie. I'm just going to quote the man himself. So, Dennis.
I'm gonna die again.
I'm quite pleased to see that this managed to hold together. After all, I would argue that my last 2 erections have been a big disappointment. And he said this with the deadpan face. But he knew exactly what he was saying. And the highlight of this for me was they cut to Matt and Maggie, and Kristie's just dying here. Kristie's just dying. So while Kristie's dying, I'll just go on. So what I loved was they cut over, and Matt is doing his best to try to stay deadpan. But it was Maggie. But it was Maggie, because Maggie is there and she starts smiling, and then she starts smirking, and then her whole body ripples, and then Maggie fucking Beer loses it. And Maggie didn't understand what she said when she talked about the clafouti being all popped up and happy to see you. Maggie didn't get that.
Look, I'm pretty sure
Maggie Beer but she tries to hold a level of decorum. And Maggie just could not hold it, and it was glorious to watch.
She has grandchildren. I'm sure she's familiar with erections.
I'm not saying she's not familiar with it. I'm saying she tries to keep her decorum at all times.
That's true, yes.
And then National Treasure Maggie Beer loses her shit.
You know why? Because Villain Maggie is all about the smut. You just go into the den of doom, and Maggie's den of doom, and it's just all smut all the time.
The good news was that Maggie loved the crunch.
Not hardcore. I'm just talking
The good news is that Maggie loved the crunch of the biscuits.
Yeah,
the bad news was that Matt thought they were a little bit bland.
Well.
Don's, the lid was missing, which Matt struggled with. He did like the gingerbread, however, and he really loved the biscuit too. He thought that the glass shard ended up coming up a bit too hard, but he really liked the biscuit and the bake around it, so that was good for Don. Sue, they said the building quality was great, and asked her if she had any builders in her family. The 4 types of biscuit were good, but they waxed so lyrical about that biscotti.
Yeah.
They adored that biscotti.
Do you think after the film, they stopped filming, that just for fun, Dan just went over to Susan and went, I came in like a wrecking ball.
And just knocked it all over? Yeah.
just
I would.
For shits and giggles.
I would. Maggie wanted to be chocolate on David's checkerboard because chocolate was winning. So again, evil Maggie. She was very evil tonight.
I told you.
The bake was really neat, and they said it was a really good texture. So David makes professional bakes. They are so professional. They are so well done every week, and he just churns them out.
Yeah.
Anston,
consistent. He's reminding me a little bit of Claudia.
A little bit, yes. So Anston, Santa was sliced between the legs. And they're like, where are you going to cut? And while they were saying, where are you going to cut? Matt didn't wait. He just put the knife straight through the middle of him.
Didn't wince.
It was the unkindest cut of all. But Matt expected it to be sweeter, but neither of them said that as a bad thing. They said it's actually quite good that it wasn't that sweet.
Yeah.
And Aston did say he didn't add a lot of sugar, which is good. Wynn, they did comment that the box goes both ways.
Look, some of us boxes do go both ways, and that's fine.
But as I said, the
some
quality
boxes go no way.
They said the quality of the bake, the texture, the piping was just absolutely outstanding. So they had the little conversation where they talked about Laura and said she's not going home, which was perfectly fair. Then they got to the announcements, and Star Baker, in a last to first, is Wynn. It was a win-win situation.
It was. I was gunning for it. I was so hoping. I was so happy to see him get it.
Meanwhile,
I would have been happy with Anston as well, but I think Wynn just got him there at the end.
Meanwhile, Dennis unfortunately had to go home. But it did lead to Matt Moran walking over, putting his hand around his shoulder and going, "You will go down having said one of the funniest things ever heard on Australian television."
Look, Dennis, tonight you might have lost in the shed.
But as I tweeted...
But you won Australia.
You won Bakeoff tonight.
Yep.
Like, you won Bakeoff. Literally won it. And I loved when they cut to him at the end and he looked at the camera and he goes, "I came in planning to enjoy myself. I think that's obvious." At which point he finally burst into hysterical laughter and broke himself. And it was the perfect way to finish because he was trying to deadpan the whole thing about, "I came in planning to enjoy myself. I think that's obvious." And then just lost it.
Yeah. And Dennis, we wish you well on your journey to France, to Custard Pie, Mr. Arlette.
Yes, we hope that Mr. Arlette cops are welcome. Ask Don for some directions. He loves France.
Yeah, he'll know.
Surely Don has met Mr. Arlette.
Maybe Don bequeathed Dennis his apron as the map.
Maybe Don. Don and Dennis can go overseas together.
Yes.
Don can drive the combi.
Yes!
And they can go and find the Arlettes together.
Oh, Don and Dennis on the road.
I want the road trip.
I want to see it, Don
Film
and
it.
Dennis do
Film it.
de France.
De France.
Like the Tour de France.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that works.
Yeah.
Don and Dennis do de France. Because that's exactly what it is. It's de France. All right, and with that, that's been your episode for this week. It was a really good episode.
Yeah, I think so.
So...
We do say so ourselves,
I'm not talking about us, I'm talking about this.
Oh, okay, yeah, that sounded a little less, arrogant.
I'm not talking about the podcast, I'm talking about Bakeoff.
Okay, what I want to say
I
about
never
tonight...
end up saying an episode is good, you know this.
No, but you're awesome. You keep us on track, darling. Otherwise, we'd just be talking about my mum and orifices. Stay tuned for that podcast. What I want to say about Bakeoff, though, and this season in particular, is... It's not showy, but it is quality. Everything you see, they're not... the technical isn't crazy, isn't it? We've got to produce 600 things in 10 minutes or whatever. It is challenging and it is thoughtful and... tonight, for example,
there's been a lot of care put in this.
A lot of care, a lot of thought, and I'm loving it, So...
And the audience seems to be loving it too. And again, it's Bakeoff and you'd expect that, but, seriously, it's... legitimately one of the best shows made on television. Well shot, well thought out, well planned, well produced. And the people you saw tonight, there's quality people all the way through this shed.
Exactly. And the thing is, it looks so simple, but everything is there to encourage and to put the bakers in the best position possible. And as we said it before tonight, it's exemplified by the care and love that's shown to Laura to go home and take care of herself.
Very much so. So that was really well done. So that's your episode for this week. Now, as we said, if you go back and listen to our most recent chat, we had a lovely chat with Annette the other day.
Okay.
Please go a bit of a listen to that. I can
Sussex.
confirm as well for those people who are listening.
Well, not Annette, she's Scottish.
I can confirm, by the way, for those people listening to the Canadian show, that in the next couple of days we will have an episode up with Jay from Canadian Bakeoff, which we're really looking forward to. There will also be Canadian Bakeoff tomorrow night. That will be happening with a special guest. I'm not going to say who it is, but there is a special guest on the episode tomorrow night, so keep your ears open for that one as well. We've got a busy couple of days coming up, so yeah, keep listening out. You never know what you're going to find from us. But until the next episode, I'm still Chris.
And I'm still Kristie.
We will catch you all later.
What is a box?